It's telling me I'm live. That's reassuring. Welcome to Sunday School. And I hope you're having a good weekend. Obviously, I'm bundled up even in the house because it's been unseasonably cold here in Sacramento. But when I look at the weather in other parts of the country and other places in the world, except in the southern hemisphere, my friends in Brazil. Now, I was in Brazil in December many years ago, and it was a delightful, warm Christmas, I tell you. Anyway, uh, I have to talk about what I'm going to talk about today because I'm so excited, relieved, and well, just joyous. There's been a joyous announcement uh, concerning my tarot of ceremonial magic. Now, it might not seem like a big thing to you, and it'll I'm sure it'll seem like I'm shamelessly self-promoting, but as most of you know, uh, shameless self-promoter is my middle name, mostly because I've made no further provisions for my family's future. Uh, Most of you know that I am just pretty much somewhat of a bum in life. I was a musician for 14 years, uh, uh, from 14 to 28. I did that to keep from doing an honest day's work, I guess. But as it turned out, it worked out okay. Anyway, I've titled today's Sunday School Tale of Tarot. And I guess I'll start sort of at the end because my deck, it's really our deck because Constance did the painting. I did all the design work and the line drawings, and she painted it. And it's been out of print for well over a year, and used copies have been offered for sale uh, at exorbitant prices because people that know what the deck is about really want the deck. Okay, uh, it's not it's not like another novelty deck, especially if you're into any of the branches of Western ceremonial magic, and even the I Ching. Okay, uh, you want the deck. Okay, so uh, I'm going to tell you the entire tale of uh, of the deck. It started out by me just wanting to, as a matter of fact, the first drafts of it, I called it the correct tarot of Lon. Uh, and anyway, uh, it started many, many years ago uh, as a project for Monday Night Magic class. Okay, because I wanted to uh, uh, demonstrate how the Kabbalah can be the common denominator for all sorts of magical systems. That there's Kabbalistic uh, factors that go into astrology, tarot, geomancy, uh, all of it, all of the various different things, alchemy, uh, have a common denominator, and we could call that common denominator uh, uh, Kabbalah. And the tarot is like the flashcards of the Kabbalah. And here is the very freshest new edition from the real publisher, Magical Omaha. and it's got a few extra doodads in it that all the others don't. Um, but I'm going to read to you from this, okay, because it explains. In 1993, a friend and I drove from Costa Mesa, California to Miami. Yeah, we were gone 21 days. Uh, to attend the American Booksellers Association convention to pitch my new book, The Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. Okay, I already had a couple books with Weiser, and I'd already made the cards, and I wanted to pitch what would be this book. Now I had the cards; they were colored, everything else, Constance, but I didn't even have the book. I hadn't written the book yet, even. But that's not kind of the way. If I don't have a publisher committed to print it, I'm so lazy I don't write it. Okay, but anyway, to pitch my new book, Tarot of Ceremonial Magic, to my publisher, Donald Weiser, the late great Donald Weiser, of Samuel Weiser Inc. Okay, the Weiser was called Samuel Weiser in those days. I carried with me the original artwork of the companion deck of cards that my wife Constance had completed coloring just one day before I hit the road for Miami. At the convention, Donald liked my pitch book. Oh, I've got the pitch book. I've saved it. It's funny. It's a scream, and but anyway, as you can imagine, that my wife Constance had completed coloring just one day before I hit the road for Miami. At the convention, Donald liked my pitch book. Okay, and dragged me next to the booth next door to them, which was U.S. Game System. And introduced me to the publisher, Stuart Kaplan, who was also a lifelong friend of Donald. This is our author, Lon Milo DuQuette. We're going to publish his book, and you'll be publishing his cards. I was stunned, but said nothing. Stuart looked at the artwork for a moment or two, then nodded his head and said, "Okay." And that was that. Long, adventurous road trip to Miami. The whole deal was closed in 7 minutes. The book and cards were both released in 1995. So it took 2 years for it all to come together, which is pretty good. Pretty good lead time for publishing. Constance and I are proud and gratified that for 30 years the cards have been well received by tarot lovers, magicians, and students of the occult around the world. This 30th anniversary edition of Tarot of Ceremonial Magic is the third printing published by our friends at Magical Omaha. So they've done 3 full printings of it and sold out the first 2. Okay. And then it was out of print for a while because of tariffs and threats of tariffs and things like that. Okay. The third, okay. This is the latest and finest incarnation of what has been for many a classic of the modern esoteric magic. We hope the magic of tarot, of ceremonial magic, will touch your life and be useful to you for your own great work. And it's got a little picture of Constance and me. And that's the back of the deck, okay? Because there's so much Enochian material in the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic that each card, when you place the card down, you're putting it on the holy table of the Enochian magic system. And there's the two versions of the elemental tablets. Okay, that being said, if you'll excuse me for a second while I maybe turn my back. Oh, yeah. And the inside of the card has, or the deck box has the dates associated with the court cards and small cards. I think I can quickly find the pitch book if you're interested in that. Okay, I hadn't planned on showing it to you today, but let me see if I can find it. This might be it. Let's see what I run. Yeah. The deal was completed in 7 minutes, but it took a long time to write the pitch book material, so I could just hand it to Donald. Okay. It explains all the goodies on it. Not just another novelty tarot deck, profound and effective learning tool. Let's see here. I hadn't really planned on digging out that stuff. Okay, there's an example of the uncolored version. And this is how the book handles the material for each of those cards. Remember, this became this. And this is how I treat the aces. And this is what the cards look like. As a matter of fact, that's the size of the card that I gave to Constance to watercolor just days before. Okay. And there's 6 of discs. Now, along with that came a fold out of 4 trees of life with all of the court cards and small cards on their positions on the tree of life. Okay, that went in here. And this is how the Enochian magic elements fit into the aces and court cards. There's the entire elemental tablet spread out as aces and 16 court cards. Now, Donald Weiser was a serious esotericist himself. His father founded the company nearly 100 years prior to that. and he knew his stuff. Uh, we could say that Donald was a Jewish Kabbalist. And when I presented things to him, like the chicken Kabbalah, I was really worried that he would hold that in ridicule. But when I gave him the pitch book for the chicken Kabbalah, I was delighted at his acceptance, his embrace of the chicken Kabbalah. Okay, uh, that's that story. When Constance and I were young hippies, uh, we had just returned from being dropped out in the wilds of southern Oregon for about 6 months, 7 months, and had every intention of returning to Southern California or returning to Oregon after I just wanted to go back to Southern California and sing in saloons for about 2 weeks to get enough money to build a little second cabin on our property that we bought for like $200. Okay. And you know the story. The night before we were to return to Oregon, the two producers from CBS came in and heard Charlie and I sing our original songs at the saloon we were playing at. It wasn't a saloon; it was a fancy restaurant, actually. And they said, you know, don't go back to Oregon. Stay another week and come to CBS and cut a demo. Let's make a demo. And we did. We didn't go back to Oregon that weekend. We stayed another week. We made a demo and we got signed to Epic Records. We never went back to Oregon. All of that going on. But we had, and we moved in pretty culturally hip circles. Even the who would eventually be our violinist for Charlie D and Milo and recording and concerts was David Dunn, who was the first chair violinist for the then Pacific Symphony, and he was our bass player. And he was a very good friend with the daughter of Timothy Leary. And so we sort of moved on the periphery of the Brotherhood of Eternal Love, the LSD. I don't know what you would call them. They were adventurous heroes. They were the ones that helped spring Timothy Leary from prison and get him to Algeria and everything. And they were our hashish connection too. And we never bought it. They just brought over chunks of it, and they said, "Oh, I can't sell this one. It's all broken up." But but anyway. I don't think I'm getting anybody in any trouble anymore with my stories. But we were introduced to a tarot deck. Okay, I never had any interest in tarot, but I found the original thing, and we would actually, it gives instructions how to lay out a Celtic cross and everything else. But it's the neatest, funnest, hippie-ish tarot deck that has become a rare, cosmic, culturally significant object d'art. It's called the Morgan's Tarot, Boulder Creek, California. Okay. There's the back of every one of them. Okay, it says love. Okay, God. Okay. And an example of one of the cards. Now, they're not classic Kabbalistic tarot cards, but they are holy. This one's called Who Am I? And we would read each other's cards. And when I started to get into Hermetic artwork, as a Rosicrucian, I started to paint the Hermetic Rose Cross to help me understand what the Hebrew alphabet and all of that was about. So I did my artwork in colored inks, not colored pens, but colored inks that you had to dip a pinpoint or a pen point in. Okay. And I was working with that, so I colored a few of these. Here's an example. Pigs and fishes surround you. That's from the I Ching. Okay. That's I Ching 61, hexagram 61, called Inner Truth. So, like if you hold fast to your own inner truth, you can move, you can influence others, even as stupid as pigs and fishes. So that's pigs and fishes surround you. There's one called Message Monday. One that calls I Come from a Different Planet. Here's one of my favorites. Boo. Now remember that Morgan Tarot is totally uncolored. This is me coloring them. I still don't understand. Whatever's right. Do-wackadoo. Love. And here's another one of my favorites. Anyway, if I was going to say there was a beginning of my tarot career, it would be with this Morgan Tarot when we were hippies. Well, we're still hippies. We're still hippies that do this. Now, I'm just going to quickly show you the litany of Tarot of Ceremonial Magic decks. First of all, this is the U.S. Games System deck. Now, when you see one of these for sale, even on Amazon, okay, it's being sold by a private collector. And they're probably asking quite a bit of money for it. And I want you to know that Constance and I don't get any of that money. As a matter of fact, U.S. Games doesn't get any of that money. Okay, it's a collector's item thing, and it's priceless if you're a collector to get a nice fresh virgin deck like this. But if you just want the deck to study, to do tarot stuff with it, you're stupid. Okay, and not only that, I don't get anything. U.S. Games did 2 entire print runs of it. It's an excellent deck. I'm not going to open this one because the cellophane's still on it. But it's excellent. We were very happy with it. As a matter of fact, U.S. Games teamed up with Weiser and they packaged it in a bigger box of its own and sold that. Probably only about 250 of those. U.S. Games, okay, has great distribution and everything else. And the two complete print runs for U.S. games meant that a lot of people, I'm happy to say, got the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic when it first came out in like 1995. And they sold out the first run completely, and I think that was 10,000. And they did another print run when that ran out. So U.S. Games did two complete print runs. And then when that was gone, they didn't do a third one. And they didn't tell me that they were discontinuing either. So it was about 3 years before I realized that the deck was out of print. Now, a very, very good, close, dear friend of ours, Thomas Caldwell, just was outraged that U.S. Games would let it go out of print. And he worked his butt off to get I believe it was a Chinese printer to do a very limited run. And he was doing it in his kitchen. Okay, he was sorting the cards out, and so so he wanted to call it his company Thelema Oracle or Thelema Aura, and he was persuaded to call it Thelesis Aura instead. But it was really kind of just him having the cards printed up and stuffing them himself, but he called that one, and this is the Thelesis Aura deck, and I regret to say I don't have a fresh one in the cellophane. Okay, and he called it the Babylon edition because it had this on the cover. And it is an excellent deck too. The same quality, same color, reproduction, truth, and everything. But there was only so much time in that man's life to sit in his kitchen and hand organize and stuff and market it, and I'm eternally grateful to Thomas for doing that. But he eventually, I think he had every intention to keep going with it, but life took over for him too, and so the deck went out of print. And finally, I hooked up with Magical Omaha and the good folks at Magical Omaha, and they said that they would like to do it. So I contracted with them, got whatever. U.S. Games still owns the original artwork. That was part of the deal for tarot artists at the time with U.S. Games. So we had to do quite a bit of gyrations, and Magical Omaha finally printed it. This is their first and second. No, actually, this is their first print run, and it went all the way through. Oh, there's what's on the back of that one. They went all the way through that print run, and printed another one with this on the cover like that. Okay, and that's the one that ran out. So this is the third one, okay, but literally the fourth one or the fifth one. Now there's one I'm going to, and it's at a normal price. It's like 30 some bucks, 39 bucks. And this is the one, okay, that if you're in the United States, just go to Magical Omaha, and then you'll have an opportunity to click on Tarot, and that's it. Now because it was so expensive to ship to Europe, Magical Omaha had to, they couldn't arrange a UK or European shipping that was reasonable. Okay, so that was the one thing that was kind of the downside of that. But the good folks at liber-al.com have made an arrangement with Magical Omaha, and you can order and pre-order. I don't know how fast it'll be, but people in Europe and the UK, just go to liber-al.com and order from there at a reasonable price. Okay, so this is the new one. Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. It's had a long and illustrious career. Now let's get up to the felonious side of things. Somebody, somewhere down the line, pirated off of one of these decks. Okay. And it was, okay, and this is the pirated one here, this little one right there. Obviously, it's not the same size, not the same thickness of paper. It's the artwork is squeezed, but for those who couldn't get it in any other way, I don't begrudge that, okay? But number one, it's illegal, and number two, and most importantly, the publisher, the real publisher, and I get nothing for it. So when I first discovered that there was a pirated one, and I'm sure it's a limited one too, and the Magical Omaha takes every step possible but it's like playing whack-a-mole, okay? So we do have to depend upon the integrity of the buyers, okay? If you don't care that I don't get anything, and if you don't care that Magical Omaha gets anything, but there's no other way for you to get that card, do us a favor. If you've got one of these pirated things, send me 15 bucks, okay? or send send Magical Omaha 10 and send me 5 or something like that. Okay. Anyway, that's the long and I think a fun story, and it's made me go through the long history that I enjoy sharing with you. Anyway, do me if it makes a great stocking stuffer, and you'll get it by Christmas if you order now. This one showed up at my door yesterday, and I held my breath. Is it a good printing? You know, oh God, are all the cards there? And I was so pleased. Anyway, that's it for Sunday school. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Here. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.